Welcome back. You're still here with us on New Day, and it's time for us to do our newspaper review. And joining me today, I've got two special women because it's International Women's Day special edition of New Day. I've got Honorable Helen Ntoso. She's the MP for Krachu West, and also Joyce Konoki Zampari. She's the Deputy Communications Director for the MPP. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning. Good
morning, and happy International Women's Day.
Oh, thank you so much, and same to you.
Thank you too. So before we delve into the newspapers, let me take your views on this special day we're celebrating and the fact that it's on the 8th of March that we set aside to celebrate women. First of all, is that enough? And then in the space of when we talk, do you think our voices are heard? Do you think the struggle to make sure that women are heard is being achieved in Ghana? I'll start with you.
Thank you. Let me say good morning to your cherished viewers, yourself, sister, and then your crew. Wishing all women, in fact, if I want to start mentioning names, I can't really tell where to start and where to end. So to all women, I say happy anniversary, happy International Women's Day. You know, the International Women's Day started way back 1917 when the Soviet Union had so looking at the women, and then the UN adopted it in 1975. And for that matter, I think we've come a long way. Then you talk about Beijing, you talk about the other talks that we help in making sure that we bring women up to the top. We could see that in this part of our world, especially. In fact, it's been a male-dominated world, which we think the women have also contributed our culture to nation building. When we talk about nation building, we start from our various homes, our backyards. The woman is always the first to wake up and the last to go to bed. In fact, talk about all diverse economic activities, and you find the woman there. And times have changed. We're seeing women. Gone are the days when women don't have access to land. Women don't have access to properties. Women don't have access to lots of things that you could think about in life. But now we're seeing gradually it's taking time. But you ask yourself, at what pace are we seeing those developments and improvements? We can't sit back and say we've not done much. We can tap ourselves and say, yes, we've done a lot, we've come far. But I think there's still more room for improvement, like our school teachers normally write in our books, more room for improvement. Because especially in Ghana, let me talk about Ghana, let's say kudos to Rwanda, they've made so much gains, given about 50% plus to women. When you talk about leadership positions and things, you ask yourself, we have agitated, we've propagated, we've made so much strive to make sure we get there. What have we done to make sure that we're able to attain even the 30% we are fighting for in our House of Parliament, that's our legislature? How far have you gone by appointments by various governments? Governments, you could see that we're still trotting behind the men, and I think, but when you talk about this, they ask, where are the women? The women are there. Is it that we are not identifying them? Is it that we are not nurturing them? Is it that we are not making good use of our women? It is about us. We need to ask ourselves more questions. And as women, what are we doing to ourselves to make sure that we bring along our colleagues who we could also identify in various sectors of our nation building? Women have done so much. And I tell you, like Agri said, you educate a man, you educate an individual. It's not just by rhetoric, it is by the deeds. It's just an example to tell you that, look, put women in leadership position and you achieve the results, the much needed results. You get whatever you want. Yes, we can say one way or the other, you have some few lapses, but in comparative analysis, you ask that, at what extent do you see women faulting at one end or the other? I tell you, if we should get more women in this country, and I pray a day will come when we have the first female president in this country, and I know it's not going to take long.
It certainly shouldn't take long at all. But let me come to you, Honorable Helen Ntoso. Let's find out what your take is on this as well.
Yeah, thank you very much for this opportunity. Let me also use your medium to celebrate our women and to say congratulations to every woman. They've done a lot for this country and globally. Last year we did celebrate International Women's Day, and this year we're doing the same. It all started in 1909 when about 15,000 women in New York City hit the streets, agitating for voting rights and fair wages. And look at the period from 1909 to 1975. So it was in 1975 that there was a declaration. And from there, 8th of March, have been set aside for the celebration of women. But what do we see? When we're talking about celebrations, I think we've got to do better. As we're speaking, today a statement will be made on the floor of Parliament, and then there will be various contributions. What do we do in other regions, apart from the national capital? What do we do in other regions? What do we do in the districts? Are we advocating enough?
In our schools.
In our schools, in our homes, do we do enough? So we sit in Accra, we talk about International Women's Day, statements are read. What about commemorations? What about events? Do we organize events? Do we advocate enough? We've got to do better as a nation. You see, I'm happy that Ghana has also signed on, when it comes to the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. And Goal 5 is gender equity. Are we working towards achieving this? The set year is 2030. They've gone beyond that, 2050. The last time we had a workshop, 2060. We keep talking about it, but we are actually not doing enough. We should come out with activities. My sister mentioned Benji. After that, what has happened? Let me tell you something. In 1993-94, when Ghana Social Marketing Foundation came out with family planning, you know what? Some of us were with 31st December Women's Movement. We were trained to sensitize the people, advocacy, in the form of drama. So we're trained to go to the communities. And then you speak with the people, and you get a story out of what they have told you. You break the story into scenarios, and then you go back to the same community and stage a play. So they were getting the story, they were getting the message through the stories that we came up with, and through drama. The drama was sinking more than going out there, So we realized that it was really working. They were getting the message. We're celebrating International Women's Day. Can we talk about activities that have been earmarked for the celebration of this day? So we have to go beyond just celebrating this on our lips or whatever at the regional capitals, and go down to the regions and the district level. We should let the women out there know that this day we are celebrating them. How many women in the regions or in the district will know that we are celebrating that today is International Women's Day? How many? We should start celebrating women in our homes. The men should celebrate us today. We should even celebrate our children in the little way. It's not rocket science. We are all the time looking at bigger issues. When we've got to start from smaller issues. From our homes, let's celebrate our children when they're doing well. Let the men celebrate us right from our homes that we're doing well. Then when we do that, our children are also looking up to us. So when a child is doing something little and you don't appreciate it, we've got to appreciate them. When we appreciate them, then they will also appreciate us. So when we start from our homes, it gets into schools, it gets into workplaces, then we know that we're getting somewhere. But for what we are doing, I think that we better have to do more.
We certainly will try and do more. But as we celebrate women, happy International Women's Day out there too. It's time for us to touch on the newspaper. So we'll start off with Daily Graphic. Talks about killing of 7 Asawasi youth. The families receive 1.750 million. That should be 250,000 to each family of the deceased people. And we're going to talk about that because it's very interesting. I mean, they were promised these monies, and it has come, and also some promises had been made to the fact that the perpetrators will be brought to book. But how far with it? When you give money to people who are bereaved in such a situation, don't you think it is in one way endorsing what the police did as against actually just sympathizing with them and giving them some packages? I'll start off with you, Joyce Zempai.
Let me tend to disagree with your last statement, because yes, money cannot restore the loss of life. That one we know you can do anything with that, but it comes in a form of cushioning them, because some of those people who lost their lives will be breadwinners for the family. Some might have left behind parents or wards. Who takes care of them? Gone are the days when we said somebody will take care of it. I can't say nobody should be back. Nobody takes care of anybody's child, because we are all occupied with our own problems that you tend to forget your neighbor. We're even losing out the good book saying, and love your neighbor as yourself. This time it's fading away from our society. It was a mistake on the security agencies' part. I stand to be corrected. I'm not. In fact, until the courts declared them as perpetrators, you can. But when you look at the incidents, the occurrences, and what led to the shooting of those guys, yes, definitely, from a layman's point of view, that's what I would say. And I learned they have been interdicted. That's what is normally done in the security agencies. That you know that the first call is to interdict the person, then you leave for investigations to continue. Then after the findings, whatever punishment, or if they are found culpable, the laws will deal with them. If they are found innocent, they are free to go. Yeah, they are left off. So it's not that they've just been left off the hook. But like I said earlier on, those families have lost members due to unforeseen circumstances, due to unfortunate incidents. Yeah, it is a way of saying, look, you just have this to take care. And I'm looking beyond that. If there are children that have been left, government should take. Yes, we know the free SHS is there, but beyond that, there are a lot of things that goes into bringing up a child. We should look at all those things. You don't leave them idle and say because of the money. Because look, excuse my language, there are some families when the money comes up, that also creates a whole problem on its own. Who takes care of that fund? Who runs with that fund? Who takes care of what? If you don't take time, it will end up bringing more problems to the family than thinking that you're going to solve them. It's good, government has done well, but this should not be a measure of saying that we try to get along with the bereaved families. What is wrong is wrong. What is right must be also seen as right. It was wrong. It was an unfortunate incident. It was unfortunate, untimely death that they met. Like I said, the perpetrators should be brought to book. They should allow the laws to take its own course. And then this money should be something that will cushion them a little for them to also have a living. All is not lost, even though they are dead and gone. Like I said, you can't compensate them with any other thing. There's nothing. Look, no amount could feed into the loss of a life, because you don't know what that person would have grown up to be or would have lived on to have achieved. But here we are in life. The unfortunate incidents that happen to us, but you get along. We pray that they get on the strength to carry on and to move on.
Very well. Honorable Ntoso, let me find your view before I throw in another question on this same subject.
Yeah. 1.75 million cedis disbursed to 7 families. 250,000 Ghana cedis for each family. We've got to give praise to who praise is due. I'm happy that government has done this. But I have a problem with the disbursement.
Okay.
Because I was the head of operations. So when it comes to resettlement, when it comes to giving relief, I know that I am an expert in that, because I did it for a number of years. You know, when you have situations like this, like I said earlier on, government has done well. When you have situations like this, you don't just go giving every family 25,000 Ghana cedis, because you look at the household head, and then you look at the number of dependents.
Okay.
So you don't give a household head that has 6 dependents 250,000 Ghana cedis, as compared to somebody who has only 1 dependent.
Okay.
So the distribution is not fair.
Okay.
Because I had a woman who was complaining that, look, my brother or my son has left about 6 children, and then we're giving 250,000 Ghana cedis. Somebody has no dependent, and the family is also getting 250,000 Ghana cedis. So the distribution is not fair. I think we've got to look at that. And when it comes to, it's rather unfortunate that the families have lost loved ones, and maybe some of them are even the breadwinners. Those who have passed on, some are the breadwinners. So what we've got to do is that we really have to resettle them. But what happened was an unfortunate incident. We've got to resettle them. You ask, maybe if somebody passes on, living the widow, you ask the woman, what do you want to do for a living? What do you want to do? Do you want to go into business? Do you want us to establish you? So you establish the person. Complete rehabilitation, resettlement. So when you resettle this person, then you know that you have actually started a business for this person. You know what? I wouldn't be surprised that this 250,000 Ghana cedis that has been given to maybe some of this money went to the women. I wouldn't be surprised if the family will share the money. I wouldn't be surprised, because per our culture, I wouldn't be surprised if the money should be collected from them. You go to give out the money, you are gone, the family head comes and says, look, you can have this money.
Right.
We'll have to take the money from you and give you something out of it. I wouldn't be surprised at all if this happens in some of the families. So you do proper rehabilitation of the person. Then you know that in some few years the person can do something out of it, or can get something out of it, by just giving out monies to the families. I think we have to go beyond that.
Right.
And I pray that government will go back and actually, when you also give out monies, you know what? You've got to monitor the monies we have given. What has happened to the monies? Right. So when you go back, the women will tell you, or the head of the families will tell you that, look, the monies you gave us, is finished.
Funded.
Or we've started business with this or that. Right. There should be somebody who will have to check on those people, especially the widows.
Right. But people's concerns are the fact that when these compensatory packages go out, it sort of weakens the family's desire to actually make sure that the perpetrators are brought to book. And also, maybe in some regard, it makes government relax in making sure that the interdicted people go on to be punished by the law. Do you agree with these things?
Some sort of, but I think the honest lies on us all.
Okay.
One thing comes up into the media, we discuss it today and we push it down the shelf. We don't go back revisiting and trying to know how far they've gone with it or how it ended. So I think it's left to us to also keep pushing, asking more questions. Like she said, if we are not careful, especially in this part of our lives, most of these people you could see pay religion, customs, and traditions. They are patrilineal inheritance. Right. That when those things start coming up, you realize they say, look, the woman is not the one who is supposed to take charge of all this. It has to go to whoever is the heir to the throne or heir to the family, so that they will take care of everything. You see, those things can bring family problems, agitations. So it needs to be managed where they should be monitoring. They should, in fact, that's one thing we also lack as a country. In fact, one thing happens and we all go to sleep. Nobody goes to do the follow-up to make sure that everything is going on according to what we expected. So we don't need to leave them either, like Honorable said. We need to do the follow-ups. We need to make sure that, look, they are having a good life. Nobody is going after this to harass them, intimidate them, and trying to call somebody to, well, because it's been happening. We've seen women who's been chased out of their family homes. We've seen women who've been locked out of their homes and things. Those can bring out some of those things. And that's why we need to keep an eye on them and make sure that whatever money has been given to them is put into proper use. Make sure that they just don't go, well, like she said, we can, it's all is not lost. Government can still go back, or the assembly especially can go back and find out, look, what are the things that you think you can do to help better your life? Because 250,000, when you think, oh, it's a huge money, but I tell you, when you start dipping your hands and start spending, you realize that it's nothing until you put it into good use, until you put it into a profitable venture to turn the money around for you to gain something to push on. If it's all about the 250,000, then it's nothing. So we all have a problem. We all have a task ahead of us to help them make sure that they are also doing well. And then about the government maybe going to sleep, but I've already said that we all need to keep them on their toes and make sure that we just don't go back to sleep.
Okay, but let's move on and also talk about something very interesting, because the Justice Short Commission of Inquiry will be coming to a halt today. They'll be bringing all their proceedings to a finish. We've heard the things that have transpired at this Commission of Inquiry, and we've seen some of the things that have been unraveled. What happened at Ayawaso West Wuogon, and I want to find out what your take is. Are you happy with the pace at which things have progressed? Are you happy with some of the revelations that have come out? Yesterday, we had the Macho Man being represented there, and he says he's not a Hawks leader, or he's not the person they think he is, and that he was just giving the T-shirts to parade in at the Unity Walk that was held, and subsequently he has been tagged as such. Some of these things that come up after or at the Commission of Inquiry are worrying to us as citizens, but in general, your perspective on how the transpirations of the inquiry has been and what you think moving forward should be.
Oh, it's been good, because when the president set up this commission, there were a lot of opinions, different diverse opinions about the setting up of the commission. But sitting back and watching the proceedings, we realized that yes, it was worth setting it up. Earlier on, my senior sister and her party were saying they were going to stay away from it. There was a call for them, but it's good that they've also been part of this process. Whatever it is, we have a canker that is eating us up as a nation, and we need to deal with it. At what point in time, this is where we've gotten to, and I think it's better late than never. Everything has a start and an ending point. This is where we think we've ended, and we need a new beginning. That's good. And then when you sit back, depending on where you stand and what you want to hear, the revelations, the address, the questioning, and all those things, it's good, because I believe the eminent people in charge of this commission are also deducing a lot that after everything, their reports, my question, and that's what I'm challenging my own government, that look, beyond, we've had commissions in this country, what we ask ourselves, beyond the setting up the commission, what do we do with the findings? It is my prayer that this time we'll see government action upon the findings of this commission and make sure that whatever transpired, whatever they find, whoever the perpetrators, whatever their findings will be, we should work with it. And I think that will help us to go a very long way as a country. Well, if you want to take the individuals who have appeared before the commission, it's been so exciting. Let me put it in that word. It's been so exciting because of the things you hear. Yesterday, I heard Madam Mensa Bonsu asking the question. I said, in your report to the police, you said you were hit by a hammer, and then you're telling us today it was a bat. Is it that you lied? You see, Well, these are things that will bring out the real people,
Right.
the facts
Okay, right.
as we expected. Don't think they are just there to listen to people. Whatever you're giving out, whatever information you're giving out there, they at the end of it will put them together. And then, this morning I was on one of your airways, I heard somebody saying, oh, the lawyer who was putting the questions from is from a chamber. You see, when we start tagging and look, come what may, each person might belong to one religious group, one political party, anything. You can't leave anybody out. But you ask yourself, is the person acting fairly? Is the person living above what we expected? Is the person giving us a fair deal for what we're looking for? And that is it. Let's wait. And like we said, they should have ended yesterday. They are sitting the proceedings yesterday, so I had to put up their recommendation, but they've asked for an extension today, and I believe by the close of day today they'll hold a press conference and they'll let us know whether they'll still go in for an extension or they think they can work within the time that the stipulated time that has been allotted to them. Well, it's been good so far. It's been good, and we wish that they'll come out with the findings that we all expected, and then we'll work along with that.
Very well. Honorable Ntosi.
Yeah, thank you very much. But I'll take it from where you asked this question about commissions.
Right.
The Ayawaso incident, there was a commission.
Right.
They've come out with their findings. Government has compensated the people, but I tell you, my sister, no amount of money, when a life is lost, no amount of money can compensate a life that is lost.
Right.
So if the outcome of the findings is that the people erred, the police erred, I'm told they are on interdiction. Okay, now the compensation has been given to the people. Is it going to be the end of it? Or we're going to pursue? Something we've got to be done about it. If only they are found capable, something will have to be done about it. So then it brings us to this present commission that is sitting. If you look at the pace, I wouldn't be surprised if they come out to say that we've not been able to finish and we've got to continue. I wouldn't be surprised at all. And one thing that I'm not happy about is that, look, when you are a leader and you deploy men, when they go out and something happens, you are held responsible because you are the head. So when my colleague, Honorable Brian Achampo, came out to say that, look, they are my men, and I deployed them, and there is a commission sitting, he shouldn't be in office. He shouldn't be in office. Because he's a party to it.
Okay.
If he didn't come out to say that, look, I deployed them, these are national security operatives.
Right.
Invisible forces in security uniforms. As long as something happened, people are injured. The president has to tell him to, you stay away until the commission comes out with their findings.
Right.
But if the person still in office, the person who deployed the people is still in office, and there's an investigation, I don't think it is a fair thing they're doing. My prayer is that the commission will be as fair as it is. Because we've seen the videos. People were brutalized. People have been maimed. So they are calling them one after the other. And I pray that people also speak the truth. I mean, we have seen the videos. We have seen what happened. I heard one of the guys saying that they were deployed. They were called at 2:30 a.m. 2:30 a.m. Do they know that something was going to happen in 9 hours? 2:30 a.m. My sister. You see, we have to be serious. And when people go swearing, you pick out of the Quran or the Bible and you swear. That what you're going to say is nothing but the truth. And then it comes out that you're lying. There's a reward for it.
That's what it is.
I mean, we're doing things as if we are not accountable to anybody. We're doing things as if our life, you know, our destiny is in our hands. We do things as if, look, you offend, and instead of saying, I'm sorry, instead of saying that, look, this is what we have done, it's wrong, as the leader, you take responsibility. Look, our people didn't do well. We've got to punish them. And then we find ways and means of setting up a commission, and then investigations. You know, I heard the lawyer saying that, can we cross-examine those people? They said no. They said no. But we have somebody there who is a lawyer, and what he is doing, the questions he's asking, he's cross-examining them. But another person is not allowed to cross-examine. Look at the stories we are hearing. This one says this, and then when questions are thrown, he tries to change what he has said earlier on. Meanwhile, people have sworn. So whom are we deceiving? And will this thing be the end? This commission, after their findings, what is going to happen? Somebody is maimed. Bones came out from somebody's ribs. So when they come out to say that, oh, there was an information that people had gathered weapons, for which reason we went there. So when we went there, is that how you have to confront the people? Ghanaians, these are not aliens. These are citizens of the nation. So the guys who went there, if they were trained people, will this have happened? They are not trained guys. They are not supposed to have gone there in the first place. And this is what we have to state and be truthful as a nation. They were not supposed to have gone there. Because police didn't tell them that they don't have enough personnel in the first place. In a by-election or in any election, it is the responsibility of the police. If they are overwhelmed, they will call for the military. That is what the laws of this land states. They will call for the military. They won't call for national security. It is not the responsibility of duty of national security when you hear that people are amassing, you know, whatever, guns or whatever, to cause mayhem. It is not the duty of national security operatives to go there. So we should call a spade a spade. If it is right, we should say it's right. If it is wrong, we should all condemn it. You don't condemn it in a way that it's like, oh, because these people did it, that's why these people also did that. No. This kind of equalization that we do in this country is a high time we stop. Other than that, we'll go nowhere. And I am saying that we are accountable to the Maker. One day we will appear before the Maker, and He will ask us what we have actually done on this earth. We shouldn't forget that fact.
We certainly shouldn't.
So when we're doing things, we should be very careful. We should be very careful, because what happened in Ayawaso? What happened in Ayawaso? If we don't go into what really happened, putting away our political lenses, we'll not get anywhere. You heard about what happened, the video that has come out about guys that are being trained in the castle. You heard about that?
Yes, we did.
And the president says he wants to end vigilantism. If the political parties will not end it, he will come up with a legislation because he has the numbers in parliament. God save this nation.
Well, a little on security agencies and the way they operate. We have the police, you have the army, you have the various forms of security agencies. The national security have their own, it's intelligence picking, and they act upon it. You understand? And when national security picks intelligence and they're acting, they don't sort the police. They don't. And when it gets to that kind of operations, you don't inform your outfit, you don't tell them. You call them at any time. That is what you do. You call them and say, look, get ready. In the next 1 hour, we're moving.
That's not their responsibility.
That is what they do.
Not the responsibility of national.
I said, get security agencies to talk to this thing.
That is
I have
not,
had that.
No.
I am telling you, please, allow me to say. You had all the time. Allow me.
Okay.
Where you disagree with me, you just put that so that I can have it.
Okay.
You understand? There are times on operations, when you're going operations, you are not told where you're going to. You are just asked to prepare, get ready, we're moving. You get to a place because look, we've had times when people have been told that we're moving here. Before you realize, whatever the operations they're going to do is been out, and then they fail on their operations. So in most operations, they don't inform you where you're going. You understand? And then you say, at what point do you say that national security should come in? Because they are all working for the security of this country. You understand? So we can't draw the borderline and say that this one has to do this, or you don't need to move here.
But do we all agree that with this particular Ayawaso West Wuogon by-election incident, there was a breach in some sort? Of course, I understand, or we have been educated, even from the Commission of Inquiry, that national security at some point may not need necessarily to communicate with the police or the army. But do we agree that from the Commission of Inquiry and some of the things, revelations that have come out, the way in which they acted breached some of their regular norms that we are supposed to follow?
In the form of, in the acts or in operations, there are times there's spillovers, that things go, you can say things go wrong. That's what they always say. Things go bad. That's the way they always use. Things gone bad. Well, that's why the HS Commission is there, to look into all those matters. You understand? And when you see people trying to move away and trying to blame one political party, that's where the dishonesty comes to play. We should at this point agree to ourselves that, look, especially the two major parties, we've just been unfair to this country. If we will get to that point, then we will know that we're making headway to correct every mistakes that we did earlier on. But until then, just the blame game will still continue. Because the moment you hate me, I'll also refer you to the past. I'll refer you to the number of by-elections that were held, that people were butchered, that people were maimed, that people were killed, that people were stabbed, people were shot. It took Dr. Frimpong Boateng to operate on 5 gentlemen in Yendi Hospital. Then where are we going? Do you think we'll reach the point to make sure that we move away from this? No. This is what happened. There were lapses somewhere. The commission has been set up. Yes, whoever appears before the commission, it's the person's view whether to speak the truth. Then the commission also have that opportunity, have that mandate to deduce whatever information you're giving to them and break it down and say, yes, at this point you were right, at this point you didn't. They are humans, we are not saying they're going to give us everything we're also looking up to. But at the end, where do we begin the new chapter, the new page of this country? That's what we should be looking at. And of this issue of this gentleman, the new the so-called this thing. Look, we've watched the clips. One sister station of you played the clip and interviewed them. The head of that unit was interviewed in this your studio, TV3. I stand to be corrected. He said, look, it is a group of young men, women who had come together, giving themselves this, so that they'll see the opportunities at various institutions, and when job opportunities come. That day when the video are there, play them. They were not training with arms. They were not training even with wood stakes to talk about. So, and they are not militiamen, like you say. Everybody can attempt to name any group, whatever. Don't forget that this country, in the same books that talks about security and things, also gives us the leverage for a freedom of association. But beyond, what we ask is, at what point do we see that your formation of the association breaches on the right of the country? That is what we need to be looking at. But when we want to always cry wolf where there is no wolf, we want to box everything together and make noise out of nothing, then we are not going anywhere. Then we are not seeing the day. We are not seeing the light of the day. We need to end at one point. And let us not just be looking at the slightest opportunity to make sure that we pull somebody, we drag somebody. Yes, when then with Brian Echampon's thing, if he as the ministry or the minister has set up a committee to investigate, that is where you say that, look, he will be a hinder to the investigation or the committee he has set up. But this is a commission altogether, set aside altogether. And for that, we don't know at what point that he will also be invited to appear before the commission. Is that also going to stop him from bringing out whatever he knows, or whatever he has made mention will make will make useless of it. Excuse my language. No. It is not the ministry, it is not his outfit that has set up a committee to investigate this issue. Right. It is a commission that was set up by the president. There are two different things. You cannot box the two together. You can't.
Anyway, let me allow you to say something, but we've just got a few minutes.
Let me correct her.
Yeah.
Let me correct her. The national security, when they pick up information, they do not have to inform any security agency. Let me correct her. Under the Security Agencies Act, 1996, Act 526, the responsibility of the national security is to gather information.
Right.
Do you understand?
Yes.
And dissect it. They are not, under the Security Agencies Act, armed to undertake such operation as what they did in Ayawaso.
Right.
Not under the laws of this country, my sister. And then when you also said that, the people of this country, people make noise for nothing. The president has stated that people of this country should not be spectators, that they should be citizens.
Of course.
They are being good citizens by criticizing, constructive criticism.
And who is
what they are doing. So it's not that they are making noise for nothing.
I haven't said Ghanaians are making noise.
No,
Point of correction,
no,
you're
you
not
said-
going to put words in my
I
mouth.
wrote it.
I said you are not going to. I said hold
noise
it.
for nothing.
Let me. Hold
Crying
it. Let me.
wolf when there's no
Noise
wolf.
I said when, you know,
noise
I
for
wasn't
nothing
in reference.
and going
Hold
wolf when
it.
there's no
Hold
wolf.
it. Hold it.
Can we just
I
allow
heard
her
him
to-
well.
Let me
Can we just
be
allow
clear
her to
that so I will
restate
let you allow
her
you to put words in
I
my
heard you well. You said
Yes.
noise for nothing.
I said when you were talking, I said, look, when we look at, we want to stand at our political, sort of taking our political stance and letting everything, we're crying wolf over nothing. If the two political parties, the two perpetrators of this thing, will own up to it, and that was what I was referring to,
Very
and
well.
not Ghanaians, but us as political parties.
Right.
So get it right.
So, Doctor.
So you
let me
didn't
come
use
back
the
to
word
you.
noise for
I
nothing.
did, but I said
Okay.
in reference to
To
us as
political-
two political parties.
Okay.
Yes. So
Very well.
so what I'm
Honorable.
also saying is that when it is a spade, we should call it a spade.
Certainly.
We shouldn't call it a pickaxe. What has happened, we should all condemn it. We are saying that people were deployed when they were supposed not to have been deployed to a by-election. They are not the rightful personnel, security personnel, that were supposed to have gone to Ayawaso.
Right.
I'm saying that it is the responsibility of the police. If the police are overwhelmed under the laws of this country, they will call for the military, not national security operatives, my sister. That is not what the laws of this country, say about by-elections. Who is to go you maintain peace at a by-election? Not national security operatives.
Anyway, I'm
Don't
sure
forget
we'll
that national security was not at the police
we have
station.
to
Out of the
condemn.
137
We
police
have
stations.
to
let me just
condemn
allow
it.
Honorable to end, and then I'll allow you a last word.
You know what? Today is
International Women's Day.
so
We
my
won't even allow.
interest is that we'll not allow
yes.
this, to take over our celebration for today.
Of course.
Today is International Women's Day, and like I said earlier on, I celebrate all women globally, and especially our lovely women in this country. I want to encourage our men, take our women out. Take our women out today. Celebrate them. Husbands, celebrate your wives. Mothers, celebrate
Brothers.
your children. Children, celebrate your mothers. So when I'm talking about children, I'm talking of both female and male children. They should celebrate their mothers so that together, this day will be a joyful one.
Very well. Let me just, Joyce, I'll give you the chance to talk, but let me go to Auntie Chifa, who's standing by to give us some messages that have come in for today.
Yes, so we have a message from teacher in Wiamwase. He says, Happy International Women's Day to all women in Ghana, especially Mrs. Rebecca Kufuado and Mrs. Samira Baumia. If we want Ghana to develop, the only thing that we can do is to ban NDC from Ghana politics because they are the cause of numerous problems in Ghana after independence. Okay. Ghana gradually shifting to be a failed state under the leadership of President Nana Addo because a nation cannot succeed if its security is supervised by illiterates and hoodlums. It's high time AU and UN stepped in before Ghana turned the likes of Syria. Government cannot continue to sponsor terrorist groups which shrouded in secrecy but turned to call his opponents to disband them. Alaji Willie P. in Fiekuma. Good morning, doctor. I salute every woman, well, I'm just reading as I find it. Every woman, happy Women's Day. Joyce, do one have to kill before we love each other? Money cannot buy life. Tell your MPP party to bring justice to this barbaric situation. I think that is what Ghanaians are looking for now. Big Mama. Ghana is not for only a small group of people. Politicians cannot use vigilantism to destroy the peace that we are enjoying today for their selfishness. The able youth in our country should not kowtow to unacceptable phenomenon, political vigilantism. Rather, we should stand up against any activities that can bring war into our dear motherboard Ghana. Motherboard Ghana. Can we start the war? We might not know when the first victim, it may you, your brother, sister, father, mother, or family member, but politicians may run away with their families to abroad and leave us behind to kill ourselves. So please stay away from political vigilantism now. Ya Osankide Taifa. From Sule, Sunyani KTK. There's only one solution to curb election violence in Ghana. Education is the key to end it. Election don't mean Armageddon, but a day where people are free to go and exercise their franchise peacefully and majestically. NDC is against the free SHS for just one reason. Where will NDC get full soldiers if Nanado managed to educate all Ghanaians? Former President Mahama made it clear to all Ghanaians that NDC is a leader when it comes to unleashing violence and that they hold black belts. They hold black belts. You see, they nearly disrupted the Ayawasuba elections. But what are the Women's Day messages? I mean, really?
Yeah, no women.
What's that?
Today's.
There's one there.
Oh, good morning to all women in Ghana. Indeed, women need to be given much better opportunities than now. However, there is a need for us to keep our homes peaceful by giving our men the deserved respect. I wish all women a happy day. Keep the fire burning. No woman, no family. Bisik Rakia. Seshi Asarins.
Okay,
Yeah,
so at
well,
least that made your day. That's
Yeah,
the
at
last
least-
message.
well,
before
yeah,
International
I
Women's Day.
suppose.
Thank you very much, Auntie G.
Thank
So
you
let me
too.
come back to you, Joyce Zampari and Honorable Helen Intoso. And then I'll take Joyce, your final comment on today's discussion.
To all women,
Women, good.
all women say happy day. It's our prayer that the good Lord will see us through. It was not for anything that he made us the last born of creation. He has a speciality for us, and we are made so special. To our colleagues at our workplace, we are there as working partners. We are not there to rub shoulders with them. They should understand that if you help a woman to get to the higher heights, that would be a plus to us all as a nation. To our children, and like Honorable said, this should go just beyond Accra, should get to our schools, and then to our wonderful market women and women farmers. They suffer a lot. By now, go to the north, go to the south, wherever you see them doing a lot to put food on our table. They start from tilting the land to putting the menu on our table and feeding us. This is what women can do. That should tell you, women are so special. We are not saying the men are not special, but we are so
Extra special.
We are super special.
Super special.
Yep.
And we need to be treated as well. It is my prayer that our school curriculum will look at it again. We'll revisit our social studies in our schools. That will bring activities like this. On a day like this, there should be activities that will be marked in the various schools, marketplace, like she said, where there will be activities and things for people to understand. Get back on the street and find out how many people know this day as a special day for women. And I think by doing so, we'll bring the women along, we'll carry them along to higher heights.
On that note, let me say thank you to you, Honorable Helen Ntoso. She's the MP for Kratchu West, and also Joyce Konoki Zampari, Deputy Communications Director for the MPP. Indeed, it has been an interesting discussion. We're grateful to have you here. And like they said, to all women out there, happy International Women's Day. We appreciate all the efforts and we believe we can still do more. Let the men at home celebrate us, as small as they are. Start celebrating them.
My husband is
Okay.
celebrating today.
In fact, she turned 100 last week. And you can just imagine, she walks, she sings the praise with him from
Nice.
one to... She can just memorize everything.
Wow. Maybe all live to be 100 and more.
Oh,
Like
yeah.